And you become like God more and more and more and more. Ganun lang naman yun. Turn your Bibles to Galatians. We're familiar with this. Galatians chapter 5. Galatians chapter 5, verse 22 to 23. It says, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Such things there is no law." These are the things that we need to cultivate if we are to be good image bearers of God. You remember the passage in Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Do not be conformed to this world, but what? Be transformed. And the wording there is the wording there is stop conforming to this world. Is the wording there. Stop conforming to this world, but what? Be transformed. The word transform there does not mean that you will transform yourself. The word transform there is allow God to transform you, is what it means. And what that means for us is we have to learn to surrender our life to God. And when we surrender our life to God, God will be the one transforming you. He who began a good work in you, He will be the one who will be faithful to transform you back into the image and likeness of Himself. But we have to allow that. We should stop conforming. And if we are to conform, we have to renew our mind. We have to control what we see and what we hear. Those are the only things naman that we receive that would influence us. What we see primarily and what we hear. Stop conforming. Stop watching. Stop listening. Stop seeing things that does not mold you more into the image and likeness of God. Go to 2 Corinthians, please. 2 Corinthians chapter 4. Second Corinthians chapter 4, verse 16 to 18. It says, "Therefore we do not lose heart, but though our outer man is decaying, yet our inner man is being renewed day by day. For the moment light affliction is producing for us an eternal weight of glory far beyond all comparison. While we look not at the things which are seen, but on the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal." So we are to allow God to transform us. Let's say you know somebody who's unlovable. Then you ask God, Lord, can you transform my mind? May it be more patient. Like love is patient, love is kind. Allow God to transform your mind, but He cannot transform your mind without you feeding your mind with His words. Instead of listening to gossip, why don't you start listening to God more? Your mind will not be transformed by this world. You will conform to this world if you spend more time listening to the world than listening to God. That's why, I really hate, and this is very true, I really hate hearing news about other people. Then my mind, Roy knows this. I have friends kasi. I don't really see them anymore. Probably the last 10 years, mga 3 times na lang. Or maybe 4. I mean, I really don't see. Because whenever I'm with him, man, the way he talks, it really pollutes my mind. After I spend time in him, I feel depressed. Oh, my friend is so rich, my friend is so successful, and you're down there. I mean, he doesn't say it that way, but at the end of that meeting, that's how I feel. He just likes gossiping for a guy. He likes really gossiping and talking about a lot of people, about how successful they are, how rich, guess what, Bob, by bagong biling, blah, blah, he earns, blah, blah. Oh, I really don't care, please. Stop it. I'm getting depressed. Instead of hanging out with people that after you feel so blessed. Oh, I'm so blessed with your words. Sabi ko nga, sometimes, and I mentioned this, we connote fellowship with just hanging out. But fellowship is really focusing on God. And when we have fellowship with fellow brethren, the main focus should be God, encouraging one another to be faithful, to persevere. I was treated by a friend of mine just last Friday night. Have you eaten in China Blue or something like that? Have you heard of China Blue? This is a restaurant, China Blue. Very good Chinese. China Bank, yeah. Owner of China Bank, owner of China Blue. Same China. It's a so to me, it's really the best Chinese, not only in the Philippines, but even against Hong Kong. Sarap talaga. The Peking duck is really good. And if you're about to die and you had the 1 million, ask for the Peking duck. It's worth it. No. But it's really good. So I had the privilege to be invited to have a dinner there last Friday. Sabi ko nga sa friend ko, and it's yung several courses. Kasi the head chef was in town. So, meron siyang blah blah special dinner. Libre naman. Okay, sama na. So whenever he would read, the next dish is kasi merong menu yan, di ba, na pinapakita. So sabi ko, pare, don't say the next dish. Say mo, the next verse is scallops, and just let's make it biblical, right? And our discussion was fellowship, and we were talking about the Bible, we were cracking jokes. Having God at the center doesn't mean it's gloomy. It doesn't mean it's depressing. It could be really lively, talking about your experience, talking about something you've learned. And it's really fun and encouraging. So, I encourage us, if we are to be image bearers, we have to hang out with people that will help us be image bearers of God too. So here we have to realize that if we take the position, and I said this from the start when we started the study of Genesis, when we take the position that the book of Genesis is a story about the creation of material things, then it has, so what? But here we realize that the story of creation is not the creation of material things, but the creation of purpose, function, and purpose. Now, the creation story has real meaning for us. Now, if all the created beings in the universe has function and has purpose, which we saw on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5, guess what? Man was created also for a function and a purpose. That is the story of creation, that part. It's not about, is it 10 million years? Is it 20 billion years? The argument of is creation or evolution? Did God create material things? Or is this an evolution of things? It's a misstep. Because even if you win the argument that God created all of these things, and that creation is about the creation of material things, and we saw it was not, then what's the point? Oh, so what? He created all of these Lego pieces. That has no meaning. But when you see this in the eyes of the Jews, that the creation story is the creation of function and purpose, then we find meaning. That man was created to be image bearer of God. We are created for that function and purpose. And the true worth of man is not that he was created by God. The true worth of man is that he was created in God's image and likeness. That is the story. That is how God laid the foundation. That everything has a purpose, everything has a function, even man has a purpose and a function. And that is to be God's image bearer. Go to Matthew chapter 5, please. Matthew chapter 5, verse 16. It says, "Let your light shine before men in such a way that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven." Brothers and sisters, this is the meaning of life. This is the purpose of life. Every other thing is subservient to this. Everything that we do in life should be aligned to this. I don't care if you're a bricklayer, or a janitor, or a president, or a chairman, or a senator, or a congressman. All of that, all the things, all the functions that you do is only a vehicle for you to be an image bearer of God to the lost world. That as you do your functions, as you do your job as your husband, as a wife, as a father, as a grandfather, a mother, grandmother, everybody would be praising God. Because you have been faithful to the purpose and function that you were created for. For His glory. What part of your life now is stopping you? Don't waste. You will be gauged by that standard. Have you been a faithful image bearer of God to the people around you? Are people praising Him? Sabi mo nga the lost world does not see God, and it is Christians that are at fault. Why? We are the ambassadors, especially us. We are the redeemed by God. He redeemed us so that the image of God could be seen by the lost world. My desire for us is to put off all the hatred, all the wrongs, all our plans, and make them all aligned with that singular purpose that God created every human being to be. A faithful image bearer of Him who is worthy of all praise and honor of our life. Thus says the Lord. For our last song.